All right, making a little video. This is kind of going to be an answer to some comments uh, that I received on some other videos. So I felt like I should correct some stuff because, that's what you do. If you post something that's not correct, you correct yourself. Baptism of Fire, the game I was doing the review on, why it's an amazing game, and here it is right here. What was done by the pundit. So he did, I assume, most of the research and most of the writing and everything. But it was put out by Mad Scribe Games. Mad Scribe. Apparently, in that video, I said something else. I don't know what it is. I put the link down, and I'll do it again, so where you can find this. Mad Scribe Games did this. Now, of course, the interior is a lot of like free, you know, non copyright materials and stuff, but it's all good. It's amazing. I love these. This is like the breakdown of each part of Poland and what's going on there. Like the Redlands, which is my favorite, they're Zervian, the Red Lands. They border the Kievan Rus, and they've been kind of at war back and forth since about 1018 or something, when Boleslaw the Brave conquered the area, which pissed off Prince Yaroslav to no end, right? Caused a collapse in relations, etc. Uh, it also didn't help that the Poles accepted the Romanized version of Christianity, whereas Vladimir the Great had had all of the Kievan Rus Eastern Orthodox, the Eastern branch. So there's some religious and cultural issues there. La Paz. That's why I love that the Redlands area. It's got a little city. It's got a couple of towns. It's mostly forested, mountainous, and there's a lot of potential for raids and this and that and the other. So, whatever. Now, we've got another gentleman. So, let me see who corrected me on Mad Scribe Games. It could have been Mad Scribe Games. My ear trumpet. I don't know if that's Mad Scribe Games or not, but whoever he is, he corrected. Yes, it's Mad Scribe Games. So big apologies to Mad Scribe. But on the other hand, Mad Scribe, you still gotta love me because I bought 5 copies of this game and gave them out to a lot of my gamer buddies and kept 2 for myself. And I've also bought every other thing you put out. So Silk Road, the Encounters book, etc. You know, so cut me a break, bro. I'm a happy customer. We got some DM Bloodworth. He just pinned some stuff I said. DM Bloodworth, he makes great videos. He usually does them early. So if you're up early in the morning, like 9 o'clock Eastern or whatever it is, and you can catch DM Bloodworth, I 100% say do it. He is just a nice gentleman. Also, he's Army. So if you were in the military, he's a brother. He's one of our brothers. He was in the Army too. Well, like I was. I don't know if all you guys what you were. I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys who watch my videos are crayon eating Marines. But you know what? We love our crayon eating Marines on this channel. We do. And we love our Navy guys out there on the high seas, all alone, just a bunch of men, you know. Anyway, I'm not going to go on with that. But we love our Navy, and the Air Force, I guess, is okay. So anyway, Daniel Ward, 7747. I don't know if that's Daniel Ward's birthday or what he's doing there. But he said, my description of the game fails to point out why the game itself is different from any other OSR. You like the setting, but how is the game rules supporting this culture? Okay, that is a big post. It keeps going, but I'm just going to answer. No, I'm going to click it and continue reading the rest. Everything you mentioned can be done with any game, and was OSR. I used OSE Advanced to play my fantastical Kevin Roos setting game. So you're not wrong, Daniel Ward. If you watch this, you're not wrong, right? It could be done. But here's the thing. When you make your character in this game, let me click back so I can see myself so I know that things are in screen. When you make your character in this game, there are rules for your station. Like, first, it gives you the introduction to Poland and the 11th century, and it lets you know the father, assumptions. One of the first things is going to smack you in the face that you won't find in most OSR games, but you will find in this one and Lion and Dragon. Status, social status, this is verbatim, is extremely important. And there are mechanics that back that up. Magic is rare and life is cheap. Civilization is survival. Why? Because when you leave a Polish village and you go out into the deep, dark Slavic forest, you don't know what's in there. It could eat you or curse you or do horrible things to you. You just really don't know. And also, you want to stay away from pretty much any large body of water because there could be, God only knows what's in it, which will kill you. All right. Other things that it does, besides social class, you get to roll a prior history for your character. So what was your character doing before he become a character, and that can be all kinds of stuff. Like, there's actually 4 different tables and each one gives you like a thing. So like prior history, cavalry trained, whether you were a horse breeder, horse racer, jouster, or through military training, your PC has spent a lot of time in the saddle. The character gets +1 to his horsemanship. The game does use skills. But then you can have really weird ones like foreign ancestry. Your character's in Poland, but he could be Bohemian, German, Moravian, Kiev Rus, Slovak, Hun, Northman, Viking. So you begin with extra language, but now you're going to get treated not so great, maybe, because, you're a stranger in a strange land. I would go so far as to say you could be Greek from Constantinople. You might even be able to be Ethiopian. You might be Han Chinese that wandered up there from the Silk Road. I mean, character was kidnapped, but you managed to escape. I mean, that's kind of a thing, right? Different things, and that all of these are things that now we've got our list of names. If you don't know a good Polish name, there's tons of good Polish names: Kleb, Dalibor, Debron, Doman, Jacob, Jan, Urand, Yaroslav, Yerzy. I mean, it does list which one is Christian names because there are parts of Poland in this game that are still hanging on to the old religion. So, and all of the Baltic states like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania are just rampaging full of pagan, Christian hating barbarians. So if you happen to go up there for some reason, right? If you're a noble, it lets you random which noble family you're a part of. And you could be like a lesser noble, so like basically a knight, a bogatar, or a druzina, or maybe you're a higher level guy. And that can matter because if you're a noble and you've got like a bunch of brothers, then there's a good chance your brothers are going to be plotting to try to have you killed. Because that's just the way society worked back then. This game really, really takes OSR rules and it writes them to embrace Slavic, specifically Western Slavic Polish culture, right? So you can start at level 0, pick your age, your sex. Depending on your social class, it will determine starting funds and your equipment. So, like here, all characters begin the game with a dagger. Just boom, automatically. Any character of outcast peasant, which is Schlappy or Kamiich or Grodnik class, see, I mean, right there, begin the game with a spear and padded armor if their class will allow them to use it. Or they can switch up for a staff or a club. If your character starts with at least 14 denarii, they use Roman coinage because they don't really make their own coins at this point in this region. So they're still using Roman brass denarii. If you start with 14 denarii to your name, you can begin with padded splint armor instead of padded armor. And that is your typical padded and then like lamellar, basically. And if you have 20 denarii, you can begin the game with a short bow and some arrows. Of course, if you choose to be an archer, which is a class, you will begin with the bow and arrows automatically. If you're of the knightly class, the Richers, I probably butchered that word. Fighter, holy warrior, witch hunter, Yatvingian, those are, barbarians, or thief. You can begin the game with a chain hauberk, a shield, a sword of basic quality, a riding horse. You can sell off starting items for 1/2 listed price. Characters of the Slotshit class will begin with a sword and riding horse. And if they are fighter, witch hunter, or holy warrior, they will begin the campaign with chain hauberk and shield bearing clan insignia. Remember, this is Slavic, so it's not like Western European it's not the same kind of feudalism. You got to get that out of your mind, right? Then here's skill checks, how to do them. Here is how the game has been changed to more capture the setting. Character classes, right? These classes don't exist in any other OSR as far as I am aware. So first off, you've got the archer. The archer is a character who specializes in being an archer. He is not a ranger. He is an archer. And when you level, you can roll on the benefits table, which can give you all kinds of stuff. You can either pick something like +1 die hit points. That's nice. Or you might get +1 to hit with any type of bow. You might get +1 to your initiative. You might increase the maximum range of your weapon by 50. I mean, you never really know. But archers were very big in Slavic culture. So, yeah, these are not rangers. They're not out in the woods doing whatever. These are just professional archers, usually with recurved bows. Fighter. Now, the fighter does exist in about every game. But this one, again, has the random table for improvement. And of course, he gets the fighter ability to cleave if he's fighting monsters that are 1 hit die or below. And they add half of their level to all melee and ranged damage. That's pretty big. That means your fighter is a badass. Holy man. Gotta have a wisdom of 9. You gotta be of lawful alignment. And then there's also virtues and vices you pick. A holy man is a priest, a monk, or a layperson. You can have nuns, but generally they never travel out of their monastery. So these are Christian monks or priests that travel around trying to spread the word of Christ. And they also can have, well, they can exorcise demons they can be exorcists. That's very important in Slavic myth, where half of everything you see is a demon. And they can, in theory, learn miraculous powers, blessings, dispel sorceries, things like that. But otherwise, picture a cleric that only wears cloth, really. Says here, monks are fluent and literate in Polish, Latin, and any other languages they know. They begin with +1 bonus to their law religions, philosophies, mathematics, cartography, history. So these guys also, in addition to being able to heal, in theory, and get rid of undead and demons, they're also your skill monkeys as far as knowledge. Then you have the Holy Warrior. This guy is not a paladin. He is a Christian crusader who has taken up the cross and decided to spread the word of God. And if he has to knock your head in for you to get it, he will do it. Like, he's got a special bonus where he does additional damage against anyone that is an enemy to the Christian faith. You got to be careful with that, because some people may not be Christian but are also not enemies. Whereas all of those freaking Baltic assholes are enemies. So, and typically it shows him, he's wearing armor underneath that white robe for sure. Chainmail, halberd, splinted armor, lamellar, whatever. But because he's a warrior monk, he's got his cowl on, So then we've got the Skamrajni. This is basically not a bard, not really a thief, not really a mage. The name itself means shameless, because they're looked down on in Polish society, kind of, because they just went around doing stuff. But they're kind of the entertainers. However, Skamrajni, as they level up, they can learn magical skills. They can, like, learn glamour, folk magic, cures, banishings. And this is not divine magic. This is, they can become like alchemists and stuff. They also generally carry instruments, and they have a huge list of skills they can get. So it's kind of like a blend of everything, because there was a class in this time in Western Slavic lands that was this thief. It's a thief. It's just a guy who specializes in stealing stuff. And of course, you're going to have thieves. Witch hunter. Think Geralt of Rivia. You are a warrior who may or may not learn some magical skills through the course of your whatever. And your whole deal is you travel around killing vampires and witches and all the other Slavic monsters out there. And then we've got woodsmen. Very important in the Slavic lands, because they're the guys who went out and did the charcoal burning or the cutting of firewood, scouting around. They tend to be, it says here, tough, capable experts who move between the boundaries of civilization and wilderland, culture and barbarity. They make their living as hunters, trappers, sometimes bandits. But yeah, these are, again, not rangers. They're woodsmen. Their job is to go out into the wood. As a matter of fact, the woodsman character that one of my players made, they start with an axe. They do get a short bow, but the axe is the thing. And then you've got your Yatvingians, and these are savage pagans whose land is found just east of Masovia, beyond in the territories between the lands of Piast and the Lithuanians and the Kievan Rus. They're vicious warriors. You can choose to play Yatvingian, and if you want, after 1009, you can choose to play from the tribe of Chief Netamir, which means your Yatvingian tribe converted to Christianity, which makes all the other Yatvingians hate you. But there you go. Are they barbarians? No, they're not barbarians. They're more they can berserk, but there's a lot more to them. Now, magic is really low in this game, very low. It's mostly around summoning, alchemy, astronomy, or astrology, binding demonic forces or doing exorcists, etc. So yeah, it's not at all like any other OSR game when it comes to magic. This magic takes time, most of it involves carving amulets that you wear that give you some magical protection against, all of the horrible monsters out there. There are a lot of curses because, witches, they like to curse people, right? This part is just about clothing, and it goes into detail about the kind of clothing that you might find at this time in this place. Game Masters. Okay, this is for the Game Master, and it's, how to do reaction and travel time, how to handle wilderness. There are critical tables in this game. So if somebody rolls a nat 20 with a slashing weapon, they get to roll again. Instead of double damage, they get to roll another 20. And it could do all kinds of crazy shit, like sever a victim's hand or forearm. If you roll 21, it's an extremely vicious blow, and the victim is damn near cut in half. And they have it for slashing, piercing, blunt weapons, because they're going to be a little different. See, that's not in every OSR game. It is. You can add it to a lot of them, but here's the arrows and pointed missiles critical table. Sling stones critical table, because, hey, you could pull and then animal, monster, claw, bite critical table. So a little bit of a borrow, you could say, from Rollmaster. But it just goes into it. And then the main thing is, XP works totally different too. I got to tell you that. Totally different XP. Because cholera, the plague, infections, colds and flus, drowning and strangulation. At the end of each session, each player gets 1 XP. If it was a major adventure or quest completed, then they get an extra 1 XP. And then optionally, the group can vote for the best role player in the session, who might get an extra 1 XP, right? Because in this game, characters level up with you don't need 2,000 XP to level up. It's like if you're a fighter, I'm looking right now real quick, right? Just so that I'm not, leading you astray. So let's see. Okay, where's the advancement? Because it's not by the actual where they're talking about characters here. But if you ever wanted to play The Witcher, yeah, just play you can lose sanity, you can get different illnesses. But, that's expected, considering your characters will be fighting demons and vampires and strigoi and all that. So here, okay, so experience, that tells you how much experience. Okay, here's what you need. To go from level 0, a starting character, you need 1 XP. Complete 1 adventure and survive. And you become a level 1 character. Then 2 XP for level 2, 3. No. 2 for 2, 5 for 3, 10 for 4, 15 for 5. You can see where it gets harder the higher you go up. But it's really easy. See, you don't have to amass thousands of XP. All you got to do is complete adventures. Awesome. Some magical items. Here's my favorite part: all the monsters. You know, the giant spiders and demonic creatures, Blotniks, Baruta. That's the name of a specific demon that rules a certain area. Strizga, dragons, which are never good. Elves, which you never want to meet. Fairy creatures, gnomes, hateful little bastards, gnomes. Hope you don't meet them. Baba Yaga, Leshy, Nanika, Planetnik, Pertok, satyrs. You don't want to meet satyrs because they have a tendency to sexually assault not only women, but really handsome men. So, yeah, watch yourself with that. Trolls, of course. Alkanost, which are kind of like harpies. And in theory, depending on how you approach them, they could be good guys. Well, not good guys, but they could help you. The Black Dog. Funny because the Black Dog is in Kentucky Legends and Myths. So that's kind of a weird. Lindworm is as long as 50 sheeps. Dwarves, really nice, but they don't want to talk to you, so good luck. Fishmen, of course. Murlocs, right? Forest giant, not good. Leecho. These are basically kind of like goblins, except every time they hit you, it can put a curse on you where you can't heal the damage they've done until you have the curse removed. The Verstula mermaid, a singular mermaid that happens to live in the Verstula. Of course, werewolves, because, I mean, you're going to have werewolves. Zmora, which are just angry women that become vampiric-like creatures. And phantom warriors. See, it's divided by fairies, mythical creatures, undead. And, of course, the worst of the undead, which he used the Polish name. I used the Russian name, the Pernik. But in his game, it's the Utopic, I believe. No, not a Utopic. Whites in this game are more like Viking whites. So Draugr, like they remember their lives and stuff like that. Rusalka, day wraiths. Oh, here you go. Latavche, which is the spirit of children who died stillborn or died early in their days of infancy and were buried without religious rites. Sometimes they come back as sometimes monsters with the body of a giant raven and the head of the baby. And they go about, vampirizing all the farm animals and destroying barns. And because, they're really angry that, because everybody knows in Slavic mythology, at least in Russian mythology, if a child dies, you bury it under the door mantle of your house with blessings and stuff in the hope that the child's soul will go on or quite possibly become a beneficial house spirit. And then the rest of the book gets into the terrain you're likely to face, the cities, the weather, the interactions between the different clans, pagans. They do add a character in here, so you could play a pagan. in an all pagan campaign, like if everybody wanted to play Yadavingians, you could have a pagan holy man there. And it could be your whole deal that all you want to do is destroy Christianity. I wouldn't like suggest it because you're destined to lose, but that could be your thing. So the pagan magician, shaman / witch class, social encounters, etc. So this game is an OSR, except the OSR has been completely rewritten in every way to reflect the setting, which is Western Slavic, at a time when Christianity is becoming ascendant in the region. And you've got two kinds of Christianity, even Orthodoxy versus Romanism. And on top of that, you've still got Vends and various other pagan tribes that absolutely hate Christianity that you might have to deal with. If you make a character group, say 6 characters in a group, and they have really different social classes, then as a role-playing thing, the peasants should treat the nobles with deference, etc. It is baked into the game. So Daniel, I hope that was a better explanation. You couldn't just do this with any OSR, because OSRs, as far as I know, other than this one, don't get into the actual culture or the fact that you have social classes, curses, witches, specific demons that are only, part of Slavic mythology. I guess you could import those monsters into your OSE or Dragon Slayer game pretty easy, but I think you'd be missing out on the cultural immersion that you get with Baptism of Flame that you're not going to get with a lot of other games. And like I said, because the culture, the setting, and the rules are so entwined that I don't know if you could take one apart from the other without the whole house of cards falling down. The whole structure would just become weak and not be as good as it is. So yeah. So when you play that game, yeah, lean on social ranks. Make note that if you're in a small town and your character misses church for X amount of days, other people in the town are going to notice. It could become an issue. You might even have to pay a fine for missing church too many times. You might be called upon to defend the lands from bandits, or if you're lucky, bandits raiding Pechenig, which are basically like the Mongolians of the time, steppe lords, Asiatic steppe lords, Cossacks, which were more of your Caucasian steppe warriors. But I mean, there's a lot of, I don't want to get into that because there's a lot of leeway there. But this game is written specifically to capture a feeling and a setting and to immerse your characters into that setting. And I 100% will say, if Slavic mythology, if you are just sick and tired of the same old Western mythology with the same old bullshit, get this game. It could be a refreshing change for you. You could be like, wow, this is really cool. I'm over here. My character's name is Vanislav Slavovic, and I'm a woodsman. And so I'm not from a super high class. I'm a freedman. And I spend all my time hunting or burning charcoal or whatever I do, and then bringing it back to my local village, in order to trade it for the things I need. And then lo and behold, danger rears its ugly head. and the woodsman is called upon to join a group of heroes to go forth and put an end to it. Maybe it's a scouting band of 20 odd Pechenegs that are just burning villages to the ground. Or maybe it's literally a vampire. Could be any of these things. And the game setting, like I said, is so entwined to the rules that I can't imagine splitting them. I hope that better answers your question. And I really appreciate your question, your comment. And if you have any specific questions about stuff, I'm here for it. You know, I will totally answer them.